Pretend Sports Nation, and welcome to Pretend Football Now. I'm Psych Manders, and with me, as always, is Mal Paderas. Mal, what a week of Pretend Football we've had.
Yeah, this has been one of the rough ones, right? The good teams start to separate themselves. We've had some absolutely horrid injuries that come in there. And some of the teams that had rough week number ones had quite a bounce back. I'm excited to see what was in store in the NJCFFL in week number 2.
Indeed, highs and lows, but without further ado, let's get into it. Join me tonight, looky-loos, rubberneckers, hobos of all stripes. You're here because you followed the hobo signs, and they got you to me, Michigan Slim Psych Manders, here at the Scalpel Camp. So pick y'all up in empty jugs. We rally around the campfire to gaze upon the folly of Nick Cage. Not the actor. He's doing some great things. I'm pretty sure. He was in Ghost Rider, though, so I suppose nothing's off the table. I'm talking, of course, about Kylan Swanson and Nick Cage visiting Sky Elite Ultra Thin Stadium and Coach Lewis, where they attempt to contain the surging tide of dropping loads. Well, Coach Kylan did come to ball, friends, and Nick Cage was led by Jalen, please stop it, hurts, with 25.6, very close to PSBN's projection for the match. Travis the Gumbo Goblin at the end. Junior ran up 13.3 points, and super safe Brian Branch managed to secure 10.5 points in his strong, manly hands, his safety hands. Up and name stock comer Debo Samuel Sr. Managed a 16.1 under the air, and disappointment, really. The rest of Collins' roster was terrible. It was stanky. It was not the bees bad. Jake Moody was off his projection by 3 points, and Joe Wet Bar Mixon made a mess of it, off by a whole 8 points of his projection. And, I could go on, but even the bench managed to sit immobile and pointless as Kylan's team splashed, ineffective, against the slippery walls of Sky Elite Ultra Thin Stadium. Well, Coach Lewis must have been champing at the bit. A chance to lay low the former titan of the young league, Kylan Swanson, or Ramona Swanson, as it were. Devin, the Chain Gang A-Chain, rumbled with 28 points, well over his projection. Quincy Fancy Twist William, just take a moment, pause the video, and I want you to look at the hair. I'll wait while you do so. Wasn't that amazing? Fancy, right? Absolutely. He had 10 points. That was 3 over his projection. Devonta Smith, one of the old name stock faithfuls, living up to his moniker with 17 points. And those were the standouts. But at the end of the day, Coach Lewis just made the better picks. He made the better choices, and he just had the more solid team on that particular day. What was the final score? Well, 107.4 to 98.6. Dropping loans earned the W, textbook style. No tricks, no surprises, no broken prophylactics. Nick Cage falls to 1-1 with dropping loads, riding a 2-0 winning streak, and we shall see for how long it can continue.
Week 2. When there's still hope in the air and the pretenders and the contenders start to separate themselves. Case in point, the Glorpers of Roswell travel to the Warlock Scrying Bowl to face off against Jeff and Katie's Cooter Wolves. Coach Sean's 51ers fell right in line with their projection, but got there in the most peculiar of ways. Perennial pretend powerhouse Patrick Mahomes fell well off Gage Laser's projection with only 16.45 points. But that was picked up by a huge day from linebacker fearsome Freddie Warner, who scored 20. That's all the fingers and all the toes. The 1-2 punch of oily Derrick Henry and Jonathan Forget-Me-Not Taylor each bested their projections by 2, and the youthful exuberant leg of Evan McPherson added 11.6, Kicker point! Yeah! Kicker point! Man, all told, Coach Sean's alien men amassed 106.05 points. But would it be enough? Now, the sorcerer and his bride marched out onto the field with the highest of high hopes. After all, a victory last week was surely a sign that their powers of divination provided the insight to avoid the pitfalls of last year's debacle, right? No, not at all. They were bad performances all abound. Jamar, the police dog Chase, only scoring 5.5 points. Stefan Can You Digs It, only 5.7. Marvin Mims Jr. disrespecting his father's name with a paltry 3.5 points. Bad for sure. But what's worse was the disastrous collapse of Tua Locked Arms Tagovailoa. How could the Cooter Wolves have seen such tragedy ahead? Oh yeah, they could have watched any of Tua's football from the last season or two. Well, that's what happens when you go headfirst into trouble. Final tally, Roswell 51ers 106.5 to Cooter Wolves significantly less, 66.55. This match brings up both teams to an even 1-1 for the year. The Glorpers head home to the friendly confines of Area 51 to face off against the visiting Blimps. The Cooter Wolves look to cast a spell of healing as they head to face off against the keys to victory at the Hillman Wacky Lock Memorial Coliseum and Funhouse.
Well, we've got a Portrait of Pain segment here at PSBN. We're just going to get right into the pain because it's a bad picture.
It's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, it's so first Tua Tagovailoa. The name stock truly quakes at this news. The old stiff arm and the old concussion, Mal.
Yeah, it's really terrible. I mean, as I mentioned before, you got to see this type of thing coming. And Tua has been in this predicament previously.
Absolutely.
We wish him well. We hope things go well, but you just you feel real bad for him. You feel bad for how that picture starts out. We also have A.J. Brown. He's going down to busted hamstring town. He got a one-way ticket.
Yeah. That is a rough injury. That's going to take a while if it even ever clears up. And plus, I know A.J. Brown was on a lot of rosters.
Yeah, he was definitely a big pretend football player, and we wish him a speedy recovery. But that paints a very grim picture for those owners.
It does indeed. Next, we have Isaiah Pacheco. Pop goes the fibia because the fibia did. It did pop. It did that. It did that. Mal.
Disappointing. And a lot of the hopes of the Chiefs were riding on the legs of Isaiah. I really hope he comes back in the 6 to 8 weeks that they're saying that he should. But that's a broken leg is nothing to fiddle with. That's true. That's one heck of a portrait of pain.
You might say them's the breaks.
You might say exactly that.
Poor taste, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, then the aforementioned Deebo Samuel Sr., and he's going to be missing games due to a calf injury. A lot of lower leg injuries this week. And a couple of, obviously, with Portua, the upper injuries to the top as well.
This all reminds me, and it should remind all of you, it was a rough day for the name stock, but we do have hope because Portraits of Pain is brought to you by Dr. Fung's Top and Bottom Cream. Ooh. It's good for what ails all over. I have been notified by the FDA to say this cream is not endorsed by anyone, anywhere, at any time.
They really should keep it in the locker room at all times.
They really should. I mean, it's good stuff. It comes in varying sizes, sometimes with varying consistencies. But, I mean, it's top and bottom cream. What do you expect, the same thing?
No, I mean, it's got to be good for both top and bottom.
Right, exactly. I mean, come on. These you don't need the FDA's approval. Nobody needs that.
No, or just go to, like, Guam or something.
Yeah, just go to Guam. Well, that was certainly a rollicking week of pretend sports. Just a what a ridiculous confluence of pretend football events.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really excellent. You have a couple of teams that are up to 2-0 in the NJC FFL, a handful that are also down at the bottom of the barrel. But it's still a very early part of the season. There's still a lot of pretend football to go. But these are the times when it's not necessarily the best teams that get to the end. It's the teams that stay the healthiest. And I think that is marked true right now.
That is absolutely true. You got to watch that waiver wire. You got to make sure. And hey, I mean, you got to make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe.
Absolutely. You definitely have to ensure that you like, comment, or subscribe. And if you have any feedback, you can drop us an email. You can leave us a question and a comment. We'd love to hear from you because sometimes we just tire of each other.
That's true. And if you see Craig Gooder anywhere out there, just punch him in the face and ask him, what do you do? What is your job, actually?
What is your job, actually?
What he does. He's not here, that's for certain.
Well, it kind of brings me to my word of the week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the word of the week is poppycock.
That is a great word of the week.
Yeah, I kind of love it. And that's how I feel about, Craig Gooder, of course. And some of the nonsense that goes on in this league. We need to see some more action. Maybe, dare I say, we need to see some trades.
I think that we possibly need to see some trades. But I will trade a bit of knowledge for a bit of entertainment with our viewers. I have the prop of the week right here. Yeah.
Is that shin noodle soup?
Oh, those are shin noodles.
Made of real shins?
I think so. I mean, they don't say on here what they're made of, but I mean, it says beef fat.
Are they harvesting Isaiah Pacheco's legs for this?
I think they might be harvesting Pacheco's. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Well, from all of us here at PSBN, this has been our flagship show, Pretend Football Now! What's the pain?
The
horror.
The horror. This is the portraits of pain. Come to my house, you disrespect me.
Disrespect me.
On the day of two attack of my lowest concussion.
Oh,
My boy may never play football again.